Good, beautiful morning, Unity Halton Peel, and welcome to everyone watching later on social media. My name is Wendy Karr. I'm a licensed Unity teacher. It is my honor and privilege to be not only your host today, but your guest speaker. So let us get together and have a wonderful gathering. Our mission is to lovingly inspire transformation and be of service to the world, remembering that as we change our own little corner of the world, the ripple effect is such that it will go all the way around the world, and we don't have to worry about trying to do everything for everybody, just our own little corner. And our daily word today, I believe, is Evelyn? No. Yeah. Take it away, Evelyn.
Good morning. Can you hear me? Yeah.
We're good.
The title today, World Peace. Bless the world with thoughts of peace. The word shalom is synonymous with the word peace, but it means more than an absence of war and conflict. Shalom apparently appears so frequently in the Bible, it is also used to affirm wholeness and well-being. True, lasting well-being requires the kind of peace known by living in alignment with God. Anchored in peace, people are less likely to be in conflict and more likely to appreciate that the beautiful planet Earth offers goodness and abundance for all. When I pray for a peaceful word, I pray shalom for myself and for each person of every land to have their needs met, to know lasting well-being for themselves and their families, to live in harmony and to work towards our common good. And from James 3, verse 18, and a harvest of righteousness is sown in peace for those who make peace.
Thanks, Evelyn. All right. This is one of my faves. And I chose it in part to remind myself for my talk today. So enjoy.
There is just one presence, there is just one light, shining in the world like a beacon in the night. There is just one power we all can share, one great power everywhere. One great power, one great love, big as the ocean and the skies up above. One great spirit waiting in prayer, one great power everywhere. There is one great power everywhere. There is just one purpose, there is just one spark, burning in our souls like a candle in the dark. There is just one chorus we all can sing, with one great power let it ring. One great power, one great love, big as the ocean and the skies up above. One great spirit waiting in prayer, one great power everywhere. There is one great power everywhere. One great power, 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 one great power everywhere. There is just one presence, there is just one light, shining in the world like a beacon in the night. There is just one power we all can share, one great power everywhere. One great power, one great love, big as the ocean and the skies up above. One great spirit waiting in prayer, one great power everywhere. There is one great power everywhere. One great power everywhere.
Our affirmation for 2025. We at Unity Halton Peel are blessed with an abundantly thriving community. It is done. And our affirmations for the month of September already. I am the light. I shine God's light in the world. And our monthly prayer list for September, Unity Ministry in Motion, Reverend Pat Ball, who's actually a former minister for our community, and unity.org, which is Unity World Headquarters in Kansas City, Missouri. And our affirmations, and this is actually our world headquarters. One fall when I was down, I went around and took some pictures of the campus in the fall with the beautiful colors. I'm just taking a breath. Our affirmation for inner peace. I express as peace in every circumstance of my life. And let's just take those words within and know them together. I express as peace in every circumstance of my life. For order, I relax knowing all is in right order. And together, I relax knowing all is in right order. For release, joy-filled, I release that which no longer supports my highest good. And together, joy-filled, I release that which no longer supports my highest good. And for prosperity, I experience prosperity in every area of my life. And together, I experience prosperity in every area of my life. And for world harmony, I give of my love to a world that works in harmony. And together, I give of my love to a world that works in harmony. And in this consciousness, we give thanks for the week that has been, for the week that is to be. And we give thanks that we have this opportunity to pause and take in some spiritual nourishment and see beloved friends on Zoom. And we give thanks for the technology and the ability to come together in the oneness. And so it is. And so, as you saw a couple slides ago, our affirmation for September is I shine God's light in the world. And I would add, it may feel like we have a small light. So sometimes in Unity, we have difficulty with our wording. And one of the words that sometimes we have difficulty with is God. And as a licensed Unity teacher, which if you're new to Unity or this is your first time finding us, it's basically like a lay minister. I'm not ordained, but I can perform pretty much everything, including weddings. So I have a certain amount of authority of an ecclesiastical nature, of a church nature. But the word God, I have been at a couple of Unity centers where they made it very clear that the word God was not to be used in their center. And so I worked around that. But sometimes I think it's important for us to take a moment and just kind of figure out what is it that Unity teaches about this word God? What is it that we believe? What is it? Knowing and acknowledging that Unity is actually a very broad spectrum of beliefs and ideas and knowledge and expression, because we're all part of the big circle and we are all part of the beliefs and the expression, especially the expression part. I'm sure if I were to unmute everybody and say, tell me what you believe about God, there'd be some commonalities because we're in this group together, but there would likely be some differences. There would be some nuances that reflect our life experience, that reflect whether we were raised with a spiritual path or a religious path, and what that path might have looked like, whether it was rather dogmatic and unchanging and unchangeable, or if we were in some place that had some wiggle room and had space for personal expression. So, what is it that God means in our unity community? And I actually type this out because it's so important to me. In unity, we believe that God is not person, but principle. God is the underlying, unchangeable truth. And I've been in the unity movement now over 40 years, so don't try to do the math. It's not worth it. But what I have loved about that is that it got me away from that idea of somebody up in the sky with a book watching my every move, but instead was a principle, like a scientific principle. And what I'm finding really interesting in the last decade or two is this commonality between quantum physics and spirituality. Who'd have thunk? I mean, when you think about how in previous decades and centuries, there were times in not in Canadian history, in world history, where scientists were condemned for believing something that was seen as being contrary to spiritual beliefs. I'm thinking particularly of Galileo Galilei. You know, he really got in a lot of trouble for saying that no, the sun doesn't revolve around the world revolves around the sun, which we now know is factually correct. We know that that is what happens. You know, there were times when we believed that the earth was flat. We've since come to a discovery that no, it's not. And it's not even perfectly round, it's kind of squishy in the middle. So it's kind of an orb of some description. Principle. When you see and look at this quote, see that principle and truth are capitalized. That's a uniqueness to unity, where we capitalize those words that we mean in the spiritual sense, that we mean that principle and truth are eternal, they are universal, they are unchanging. So it's akin to saying, well, gravity is constant if you are on planet Earth. When you get out of a certain level of planet Earth, then all bets are off. But while you have your feet on the ground here, we know that gravity can be expressed as a mathematical equation. We know that gravity will be constant in this space. And so if we were to write that as a spiritual principle, we would be putting the gravity with capital G. So it's that kind of principle. So when we talk about a principle and us being alike, that makes it a little easier for me to express that. Because if it's a principle, I can express a principle. I can say and behave in ways that demonstrate love and wholeness and care for each other and an expression of the oneness that I believe we all truly are. Now, having said all of that, if the word God is a trigger for you and I have just triggered you horribly, my apologies. That was not my intention. And I might have put a trigger warning at the beginning. I didn't think about it. I'm in teacher mode this week and I don't always think of those things. Know that if you need a God that is out there with the book, with whatever, that's fine. You're still welcome in unity. You don't have to subscribe to what we teach here. We just put it out. I often tell the people in the classes that I facilitate, unity's like a buffet. You know, you got your desserts over there and the soup bar and the salad bar and the hot plate and the side dishes, and you pick what you want. And if there's things that don't work for you, that's fine. You don't have to take it. You don't have to force yourself to eat it and say, oh, yeah, I believe that. Wherever you are in your beliefs at this point is well and perfect for everybody right now. And I actually love coming out of a church of origin that was very strict in what we believed and insisted that you must believe according to the doctrine of that particular faith. When I came into Unity, I had to laugh because the youth minister, I was a teenager when I left, called me and said, "You need to come back. Our discussion groups are so boring because we all agree with each other and we don't have anything to discuss because you were the only one that asked questions or contradicted what we said or said, well, I can't believe that." And here in Unity, we make space at the table for everyone to quote a song. So another way of expressing this, that I am a light of God, we could say I am a divine expression of infinite creative energy. I love that phrase, infinite creative energy, meaning that it is going to last, meaning that even in those times where I feel exhausted because I've got too much on my plate, I've overextended myself yet again, still learning, but that it's there, that there's this invisible energy source that I can tap into. The creative. How boring is it if we are all alike and we are all doing the same job, or we all have the same number of children who all look alike and sound alike and act alike? Creative. I am not an artist by any stretch of the imagination, and heaven knows the art teachers I had in my formative years tried their best. But my creativity comes in other ways. And it will never be hung on a gallery, or in a art gallery, a fancy art gallery, or it won't make the news. But I know that my creativity is valuable and can be shared with others. I remember some friends who were really great back in the days when we had a building and we would meet in person. There were some folks who would consistently bring treats for us to share after our gathering. And I would always be looking for those people because I knew that their creativity in the kitchen was yummy. And that having had my soul fed during the gathering, I would have my stomach fed by the food that was brought. Or perhaps you're someone who's a whiz with numbers and can make it do things that make my brain spin. Or perhaps you're an athlete and you're training the next generation in a chosen sport. Creative does not have to be arts and crafts. Creative can be anything. To me, the word creative means something that is uniquely yours that you can share with the world. That gift that you bring to the world that no one else can. And energy, as I implied with the word infinite, energy, that ability to continue on, that ability to do things when you're feeling tired. It sounds counterintuitive to me, or at least it did in the early days, when one of my earliest Unity ministers would say, when you're tired, if you're tired, take some time and pray and meditate. And I'd be like, I'll fall asleep. She'd be like, no, trust the source. Don't lie down, sit down. And she was right. There was something about those centering exercises, simple breath exercises that helped me regain my equilibrium and get me going again. So perhaps instead of God, we can look at this as what we're actually trying to express. Because we've got all of this millennia of history of what is God. And for me, letting go of the millennia of what is God and moving into that space where God is a part of me, I am God in expression, was a really big step. I walk a path of divine light and wisdom. Anybody ever get a gut feeling about stuff? Maybe you're arguing with yourself about something. Do I go to Paris this year or do I go to London? Well, either way, I'm going to go down the 401, and it depends whether I stay on the 401 or I turn off at Highway 2. And if you're from Ontario, you'll get the joke. My wisdom is I know that right now I don't want to travel to Europe. So I listen to the wisdom that says, you know what? Someday you will. Start planning that. But right now, the divine light within me knows that I need to stay close to home right now. I'm teaching 2 courses and I'm going to start teaching a third next month. So that divine light is that ability to open ourselves to the possibilities and find that space where we get the aha. I've always said, or since being in unity, I've always said that the head, the thinking self, the heart, the feeling self, and then the wisdom, the gut, need to be in alignment. And when those 3 parts, we talk about being our head and our heart being in alignment with things. For me, when you add that wisdom, when you add that part where your gut is saying, yes, I agree, I've had much better success than when I've just gone with my head and my heart, because they're usually arguing with each other. And I have seen many, many memes where the heart and the head are ba, 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 ba. So I invite you to add that wisdom, that gut feeling, that aspect of yourself that intuitively knows. And even if you say, oh, I'm not an intuitive person, I'm a really logical thinking person, it doesn't matter. Divine wisdom expressing through you can express through logic or that gut feeling or a combination of both. But I invite you, if as you're walking your path, something says, no, stop, this doesn't feel right, I invite you to stop and listen. Check in, do a look around. Because I am spirit in action. I am something inexpressible. And that reflects Unity's belief, as does quantum physics, that energy cannot be destroyed, that our matter is just energy in expression, and that it cannot, well, the body may decompose, the body may cease to be, that there is something within us that is eternal, that is going to continue on. How that looks in the beyond, I'm not sure. I've changed my mind about that a few times. I have family who believe differently than I do, and that's fine. We're perfect. But the idea of this is a spiritual being having a human experience, and my human experience is that God in expression. And as we all come together, whether we realize it or not, and believe me, probably one of the hardest unity teachings I've had to absorb and really fight with is believing that everybody has God as expressing as them. I did some undergraduate studies on the Holocaust. Yeah, that's a hard one to see the God expressing through and as the people that ran the Nazi Party. And yet, like a scientific principle, if it is true for one and it is repeatable, then it must be true for all. And sometimes it's hard to understand that. And sometimes it's hard to believe that. I know, I used to work in the court system, had a lot of practice seeing that oneness, seeing that connection with the person or persons in the prisoner's dock, and understanding that at some point there were a few of those people that I actually silently gave thanks for because I was taught a lesson through them. No, I'm not saying that they had to do that to teach me a lesson, but I was grateful that I was in a space where I could recognize, oh, there's a lesson here that I could learn from. It wasn't specifically for me. It was like it was aired on YouTube or on a TV or whatever, and whoever heard it could respond to it. I trust in my spiritual insight and I am at peace. Sometimes peace can be difficult to find. There was a running joke when I worked at the courthouse. I would text my husband and let him know if I was taking the short way or the long way so he could have dinner ready for me because his work finished before I did. And he knew that I needed that decompression time. He knew that I needed to go through and kind of reflect on my day before I walked through the door. And a lot of it was looking at my day through the lens of spiritual insight, asking the question, were there any spiritual lessons that I learned today? Were there opportunities for me to expand my understanding? Were there opportunities for me to expand my empathy? Were there opportunities for me to truly see the oneness in spite of the conflict that was acting out in the courtroom? And being able to find that peace. Not like I was digging for it, but rather it was like I was dusting something. I was removing the layers that were covering up the true wisdom underneath, the insights that I might otherwise overlook because there was so much dust and debris in the way. And that's not to say that dust and debris is a bad thing, but rather to acknowledge that sometimes it kind of sets us off our path and we need to go back into that spiritual insight and just breathe in that and say, what is mine to know? What is mine to do? And perhaps the most important, what is mine to be? My awareness of the diversity and oneness of all life deepens. If I came out of nothing from my years in the courthouse, it was this understanding of oneness, even when people had done horrible things, or to my human mind, horrible things. Certainly to society's idea, horrible things because they were being charged with a crime. And yet, in the midst of that, being able to see the oneness that we are, being able to see that I cannot declare what another person's path will look like. What I can declare is that we are all on a path of some degree or other. Whether or not we are even aware that we are on a path is a whole other Sunday gathering talk altogether. But to be empathetic, to have not pity, that's not the right word. Initially it was pity, but I quickly learned that pity didn't do much good for myself. But empathy, that I will hold the oneness for both of us. And I will trust that you will figure it out in your own way, according to your own soul's expression. So coming back to our thought for the month, I am the light. I shine God's light in the world. It doesn't have to be anything specific. It could be as simple as smiling at someone when you pass them in a store. It can be as simple as saying hello to a cat or a dog that you pass. The joke in my neighborhood is that we know more of the pets' names than we do of the humans. I don't know if that holds true for anybody else. But the idea of centering ourselves in the light of oneness, in the light of the awareness that in our diversity, we are this amazing tapestry of humanity. And that when we feel off, when the world just seems to be so crazy that it doesn't make any sense, that we can step back and go into our inner place and ask those three questions again. What is mine to know? What is mine to do? What is mine to be? And with that, I'm going to invite all of us to take a little wiggle because we've been sitting, at least I have, and just prepare ourselves for a brief time of meditation. In Unity, we choose to use the phrase meditation to mean a time of quiet where we're listening. And prayer is our time for speaking. So I am going to fall silent for a minute or two and just allow you to breathe in that awareness of I am the light.
In the silence, there is a sacred place, a secret meeting place. Love is there, and in the silence, where every color blends and every rainbow ends, good is there. In the light, now you find that you know peace of mind. And in the silence, your path is paved in gold, and all your dreams unfold. Love is there. Peace is there. Truth is there. God is there.
And so it is. Ah, as always, our Unity prayer chaplains are available. Diane is on the call and is happy to pray with you. If you're on the Zoom call live, I can put the two of you into a breakout room so you can have a prayer together. And for those of you watching at a later time, please reach out to praywithdiane@gmail.com with your prayer intention. And we do send them to Silent Unity, which is our world headquarters prayer center. And it has been in prayer for over 130 years now. As always, we give thanks for your blessing of your treasure that you share with us. As you can see on the screen, interactcanadahelps.org. We do have a couple other ways of sharing your gifts, and we thank you for your continued support. And let us join together. Divine love now flowing through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and is a blessing wherever it goes. For the month of September, we are assisting and sending part of our tithe to Compassion Society of Halton, Unity Canada, and Eden Food for Change in Peel. Next Sunday, we will welcome back Reverend Dr. Jane Simmons, Believe, Behave, Become. And my fellow LUT Debbie Long has started the new book study, When Fear Speaks, Listen. You are most welcome to join her on Thursday at 7 p.m. on Zoom, and you can reach out to her. The address is on the screen, and get further information about that. Coming October the 5th, you will get me again as your guest speaker, but we are celebrating Unity Halton Peel's 40th anniversary. 40 years we have been an incorporated ministry. We actually have roots going back to 1973, but we decided that because we actually hit a 40 this year, that it was important that we acknowledge and honor that. And if you have received an invitation and have not RSVP'd, please do. We are planning on having an in-person portion of this, and we want to make sure that we have enough food for everyone. It's not a Unity event if there aren't leftovers. So please make sure that you have RSVP'd to that. Coming up next month, rather quickly, we have 3 additional courses starting in October. Debbie will be starting Prosperity, and that date actually might change. We have a couple of folks who are close to graduating who need the course, and we're just seeing what we can do to help them through that. I will actually be starting a course on the history of New Thought and Unity on Saturday, October the 18th from 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern or 10 a.m. to noon Pacific. And that will run for 6 weeks. And starting October 23rd at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, which is 3:30 Pacific, this is an interesting mix. Alexander Gale, who lives in BC, and Debbie Leland, who lives in Ontario, both LUTs, will be co-facilitating this course. So I'm excited for them. I think they're going to have a lot of fun doing this. So additional information is available here at unitycanada.org and go to the Learn section. We've just re-updated the whole section there. There's a lot of information about opportunities to learn and grow. And if you have a nudge that perhaps you want to become a credentialed leader, that is your place for pretty much all information. If you are joining us for the first time, whether it's on the Zoom call or on social media, please join our newsletter and you will get all the links to what's happening. Madam President, have I missed anything?
You've done a great job. Everything's covered, Wendy. I do want to point out that in the chat with Diane, she is now recording the 800 number for Unity prayer chaplains there. So please take advantage of noting that number if you haven't been able to find it at our website in the past. Thanks, everyone. I look forward to, I look forward to hearing how many people are going to attend the in-person on October 5th to celebrate our 40 years of being together as Unity of Mississauga. Thanks, Wendy.
Right. And for those of you who are watching at a later time, the Unity prayer line number is 1-800-669-7729. 1-800-669-7729. And it's a wonderful opportunity to pray with folks. And that's a whole other talk for another Sunday. All right, let us bring into our hearts and minds the children of our family, the children of our community, and the children of the world. And we say together, children and youth of unity of the world, we love you, we bless you, and we appreciate you just the way you are. And we are so grateful for the children in our lives. And as we bring our gathering to a close, let us join in James Dillett Freeman's prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is. I am divine. And as is our tradition, Sue Riley will sing us out.
Peace in my life is growing because I choose love. Love's always present, it's what I'm made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one tie that binds us, that can't be undone. I choose love. Peace in my family is growing because I choose love. Let love be present, it's what we're made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one loving family, sharing one son. I choose love. Yes, I do. Peace for our planet is growing because I choose love. Let love be present, it's what we're made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one. One choice unites us. Let this be the one. I choose love. I choose love. I choose love.
Thank you for joining us today. We look forward to welcoming you again at a future date. Blessings.